We're going to take you to the press review now. Dipty's joining us. European Union has given its green light for the creation of detentions outside of Europe to where they will send illegal migrants, detention centres.
Yes, that's right. Detention centres, indeed, Stuart. The European Union agreeing on new rules to speed up and increase deportations from the EU. This agreement was made on Monday. The rules will be ratified in the coming weeks or months, but would essentially include the creation of so-called return hubs outside of Europe, where failed asylum seekers could be sent. It's part of sweeping EU reforms. You see it here on Politico's website. It's part of sweeping EU reforms to increase control over who enters a bloc and how.
What's the reaction then from the European dailies?
Well, let's show you. This is from Le Soir, the Belgian daily, which is focusing on it today, evoking what it calls a compromise. After multiple negotiations, these detention hubs have been validated by the institutions. It also notes in this article that it also reflects the growing influence of the right and far right in European Parliament. Now, the Frankfurter Allgemeine, that's a German paper, notes that basically under the agreement concluded, countries like Germany, Austria and Denmark could see the construction of these detention hubs in countries like Rwanda, Uganda or Uzbekistan. So failed asylum seekers could essentially be sent to countries to where they have absolutely no connection. El País, here, this is Spanish press. Spain has been one of the biggest critics of these new rules, saying that it does not respect human rights. El País here says that just as the agreement reflects a harder line on the issue of migrants, but it comes at a time when Europe is also preparing to welcome a Taliban delegation to discuss future deportations to Afghanistan. And finally, the Washington Post here says the EU is adopting strict new measures and moving to, quote, deploy some of the clenched fist tactics used by the Trump administration. This includes speeding up deportation, increasing detention times, and tightening border controls.
Let's take you to the UK for this next one. More bad news for Prime Minister Keir Starmer there. This is after the publication of a new trove of so-called Mandelson files. Yes,
right. That's right. They're named for Peter Mandelson, the former UK ambassador to the US. Hundreds of new files have been released about him. He, in the first trove of documents, it was revealed that he had been friends with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The new release of documents pertain to Mandelson's appointment as ambassador to the US, which is considered really the highest diplomatic post in the UK. That's according to The Guardian. A lot of crucial documents were actually withheld or redacted in this latest release. Hence why you'll see the Daily Mail saying that the 1,500 new pages are a sea of Tipex, but the paper says it did reveal toxic infighting within the Labour Party and, I quote, embarrassing criticisms about Keir Starmer himself. Peter Mandelson is quoted as saying that the Prime Minister tended to buckle under pressure and lacked verve. New documents also show that Peter Mandelson received sensitive security briefings even before he had been appointed. The Daily Mirror, meanwhile, focusing on the fact that he's refused to hand over his personal phone, which begs a question today: what is he still hiding, or what is left to hide?
Canada, this next one. Great question here. It's about a referendum which is going to be held in October on deciding whether or not to have a referendum. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. The vote to decide on whether to have a vote will be about the future of Alberta, and notably this possible secession of Alberta. Alberta is an oil-rich province in Western Canada, considered the Texas of Canada. Now in October, they will have a vote on whether they should have a referendum to decide their future. The mere asking of the question, the New York Times says, has lit a political fire in the country. I quote, Canada's political class in the capital is suddenly paying attention. After all, Prime Minister Mark Carney can hardly afford a separatism crisis with a province that supplies oil to the US. In recent years, support for separatism of Alberta has risen from 20% to 30%, but the Canadian papers, at least the local papers there, seem to show that there is little support for holding such a referendum.
Finally from Dipti, I must admit, I'm a little bit worried about this one. It's about researchers who have published a study into, should we say, the self-pleasing practices of birds.
That's right. Well, they use the word masturbation, so I guess we can
you
go.
Just did.
And I just did. I went there. The Guardian does too, so let's call it what it is. You'll want to fly over to the Guardian for this one. Bird keepers are often advised to discourage or even punish birds for masturbating. This new study, though, will peck your interest, Stuart. The unflappable researchers at the University of Lancashire led this study investigating masturbating birds and found that it's actually more common in the wild than it is in captivity, and therefore it's seen as part of their natural behavior. Importantly now, they're telling vets to tell worried bird owners that there is nothing foul about birds masturbating. They want them to also avoid treatments like hormone therapy or surgery. Masturbation is apparently quite common in parrots, ducks, turkeys, and chickens. And female birds, as well as male birds, enjoy a bit of self-ruffling, I guess you could say.
I thought you were going to show us a diagram, Dipti, because I'm slightly confused about how this happens.
Let's not get into the details.
No, probably not. OK. Thank you very much.